Welcome to another Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today. We are taking a look at a really huge milestone for any entrepreneur, transforming a solo venture into a multi-member powerhouse. We're going to break down literally everything you need to know about legally and financially expanding your limited liability company right here in the great state of Missouri.
So let me ask you right off the bat, thinking of expanding your business? Learn how adding a member to your LLC in Missouri could be your next big step and discover the seamless way to do it today. Bringing someone on board is incredibly exciting, but there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to handle the transition. We're going to make sure you do it without tripping over any hidden legal or tax hurdles along the way. All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. Today we're covering 1. Expanding your Missouri LLC. 2. Updating the operating agreement. 3. State filings. 4. Navigating new tax realities. 5. Avoiding common pitfalls. And 6. Maintaining success and compliance.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Expanding Your Missouri LLC and the True Power of Partnership.
Bringing on a partner or an investor is a massive, exciting milestone in the life of any business. It means you're growing. And a Missouri LLC is basically the perfect vehicle for this. It's a fantastic hybrid entity. It gives you all the structural flexibility of a traditional partnership, but it also protects you with the ironclad liability shields of a corporation. The benefits of adding a member are huge. You're getting an influx of capital to invest, plus diversified skills from your new partner. In Missouri, all of this is governed by Chapter 347 of the Missouri Revised Statutes, or RSMO. Now, a key concept to wrap your head around right off the bat is that a member's interest in the LLC is actually classified under the law as personal property. Think of it like a tangible asset. Transferring or expanding ownership takes careful, deliberate coordination. Moving on to Section 2, updating the operating agreement. This is really your internal blueprint. Okay, before you ever deal with the state or the IRS, the very first steps happen internally, right at your own desk. First up, you need to review your current operating agreement. What are your specific admission rules? Now, if you don't have an operating agreement, or maybe the one you have doesn't even mention adding members, Missouri law steps in. Specifically, RSMO Section 347.113 requires you to get unanimous written consent from all current members before anyone new can join. Once everyone is on board, Step 3 is to formally document the capital buy-in, like exactly how much is this new person paying or contributing to join. Finally, you're going to draft what's called an amended and restated operating agreement to lock it all in and make it official. Now, your new operating agreement really needs to cover these 4 critical clauses. Think of them as your business's immune system. Capital accounts, for example, track financial contributions. So if you put in $10,000 and your new partner puts in $5,000, it's properly and legally recorded. You also have to clearly define voting power. Does everyone get one equal vote, or is it proportionate to how much cash they put in? Then you've got transfer restrictions, like setting up a right of first refusal if someone suddenly wants to leave. And dissolution triggers. These are deadlock resolution mechanisms, so if you ever disagree fundamentally, you don't end up draining your bank accounts fighting it out in court. But here's a vital statutory warning you need to hear. While Missouri offers incredible flexibility for drafting these contracts, recent modernizations to the law mean you absolutely cannot contract away your basic fiduciary duties. You can't write a clever loophole to eliminate the duty of loyalty, the duty of care, or the obligation of good faith and fair dealing. Basically, you have to play fair, period. Section 3, Missouri State Filing Requirements. Let's look at how to make it official with the state. We're shifting to the public-facing phase now, updating the Missouri Secretary of State. And I hear this question all the time. Do you actually need to file paperwork with the state just to add a member? Well, it's a huge misconception that you always have to. Actually, scratch that old assumption. The truth is, you only need to file an amendment with the state if your original articles of organization explicitly listed the names of your members publicly, or if adding this new person is fundamentally changing the management structure of your LLC. Now, if you do fall into the category that needs to file, the mechanics are super straightforward. Step 1, just jump onto the Missouri Business Entity Search website and grab your LLC's charter number. It usually starts with the letters LC. Next, fill out the state's Amendment of Articles of Organization, which is Form LLC 12. And lastly, just pop that signed form in the mail along with a $25 filing fee directly to the corporation's division in Jefferson City. It's really that simple and actionable. Okay, Section 4, Navigating New Tax Realities. We're going from solo to partnership. This right here is the major turning point of the whole process. We're shifting away from state corporate law and looking straight at taxes. As a single-member LLC, you were probably taxed as a disregarded entity, which is great because you just toss your profits onto a simple Schedule C on your personal tax return. But the literal second you add a partner, you become a multi-member LLC. That defaults to being taxed as a partnership, meaning your business must now file a much more complex Form 1065, and every single member gets a Schedule K-1 to report their share of the income. It's a totally different ballgame. Because your tax classification completely flips, transitioning to a multi-member LLC strictly requires you to get a brand new Employer Identification Number, or EIN, from the IRS. Listen to me on this one, your old single-member EIN is dead. Do not skip this step. If you try to use the old one, you are going to have an absolute nightmare trying to file your new partnership returns with the IRS. Let's translate some of these federal tax rules into plain founder speak. The really good news here is that when your new partner contributes cash or property, say they write a check for $50,000 for a 20% stake, that is generally a non-taxable event under IRC Section 721. You are getting taxed just for putting money in the bank. You just have to make sure your capital accounts reflect those new ownership percentages. You might also want to chat with your CPA about making a Section 754 election to properly track tax bases. And don't forget, moving forward, every member is on the hook for handling their own self-employment taxes and quarterly estimated payments. And hey, you can't forget about the Missouri Department of Revenue either. You're going to need to file Form 2643. That's the MO tax registration application to let the state know about your brand new partnership structure. Now, pay close attention to this specific scenario. If your new partner happens to live outside of Missouri, the LLC is generally required to implement non-resident state income tax withholding using Forms MO1NR and MO2NR. There's a small exception if the non-resident files Form MO3NR promising they'll pay the taxes directly, but either way, you have to get this paperwork sorted. Moving to Section 5, avoiding common expansion pitfalls and protecting your asset. This is arguably the most critical risk management phase of this entire explainer. You have got to clearly distinguish between these two concepts because there is a massive legal difference between assigning an economic interest and formally admitting a member. Say you just give an investor an assignment of interest. Well, they get a share of the profits, sure, but absolutely no voting power to, say, hire a new CEO or pivot the company. To actually hand them the keys to the company and let them participate in real management decisions, they must go through that formal admission process we talked about earlier. In fact, just look at this direct quote from the statute. Under Section 347.115.1 RSM, an assignment of an interest does not entitle the assignee to participate in the management of the business, vote on company affairs, or exercise any rights of a member. So what does this actually mean for you? It means if you botch the paperwork and don't formally admit them according to the rules in your operating agreement, your new partner might legally just be a passive assignee. And trust me, that will lead to massive, messy internal disputes when they try to vote and realize they can't. And finally, Section 6, maintaining success and compliance. We have reached the finish line. We're tying up the loose ends now to set your new partnership up for long-term harmony. So here is your quick compliance checklist. As soon as you get that new EIN, you need to provide it to your bank, your payroll provider, and your vendors so everyone's on the exact same page. You're also likely going to need to file a short-year tax return just to cleanly close out your old single-member books. Moving forward, the real secret to a successful partnership is simple: transparency. Maintain accurate meeting minutes, keep those financial ledgers meticulously updated, and sit down at least once a year for a formal review of your operating agreement. Clear, consistent communication is how you prevent disputes down the road. Before we wrap everything up, I do need to give a quick disclaimer. The information provided in this explainer is strictly for educational purposes and does not constitute legal or tax advice. Every single business is entirely unique, with its own quirks and challenges, so please make sure you consult a qualified lawyer or a CPA to get personalized guidance for your specific circumstances. But with all that said, you now have the complete blueprint to safely and legally expand your Missouri LLC. You understand the state laws, you know how to navigate the contracts, and you are prepared for the tax shifts. So the only question left for you is, what bold new vision will you and your new partner bring to life next? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep building, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.